Oh man, so close! I exclaimed as we drove into Arcos, Idaho, passing a sign that listed the town's population as 995. Almost 4 digits. Come on, Arcos, you can do it! My girlfriend Molly encouraged. Just make 5 more babies real quick. We laughed at our own jokes as we entered the small town, passing the famous pickle-themed restaurant, which was curiously closed at 1:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday. Molly and I were traveling to Craters of the Moon National Monument and then to Twin Falls, where we had planned to spend the night. Unfortunately, our plans were about to drastically change. Shortly after making a turn onto what appeared to be Arco's main street, adorned with a building proclaiming that Arco was the first town in the world to be lit by electricity generated by nuclear power, my car sputtered to a stop. Shit! I yelled. Of course this would happen here. What is it? Molly asked. I'm no good with cars. We'll have to find someone to take a look at it. I pulled over onto the shoulder, next to a sidewalk with 2 children's bicycles laying in the middle and a house with a car in the driveway. The car's driver's side doors were open, but no one was around. As I got out of the car and looked around, I realized I didn't see anyone, and hadn't since we got into town. Where is everyone? I asked. Molly looked around too. She evidently didn't see any signs of life either, because she remained silent, leaving my question unanswered. I pulled my phone out of my pocket and opened my internet browser. A Google search for car shops in Arco, Idaho revealed a surprising 4 results. I guess we're not the only ones in town with car problems, I joked. The closest shop appeared to be just around the corner. I called the number listed, but no one answered. In fact, it just kept ringing. There wasn't even a voicemail or answering machine set up. No worries, I thought. Maybe they were just busy. Wait here, I instructed Molly. I'm going to walk over and see if anyone's around. Molly didn't seem to be the biggest fan of my plan to leave her by herself in a creepy town, but we didn't have any other ideas, so I set off to see if I could find the shop. The shop, Lost River Auto Repair, was exactly where Google said it would be. I walked up to the front door and opened it. However, once in the main lobby, I quickly realized there was no one here either. No one stood behind the main desk, and thanks to the large glass window that separated the office from the workshop, I could see that the garage was empty too. There were cars in the 2 of the 3 work bays, one with the hood open, but no mechanics were present. I exited the shop and walked back to Molly, who was thankfully right where I left her. This is getting weird, I said. Did you see anyone while I was gone? She shook her head no. Not a soul, she said. Thoroughly creeped out, but unable to leave due to a broken down vehicle, we began wandering the streets, looking for someone who knew what was going on, or someone who could help us be on our way. Our building by building search didn't take long thanks to the town being so small, but by the end of it, we still haven't come across anyone at all. With no other options, we grabbed a couple of bags from our belongings, walked into the motel down the street, grabbed the key from behind the unattended main desk, and set up a camp in a dingy room. How romantic, Molly quipped. We've stayed in worse places, I responded with an uneasy smile. I was trying to appear unafraid, and I know Molly was too, but I was starting to panic. Everything that had happened to us since crossing into Arco was unexplainable. Actually, what happened to my car probably would have been explainable to someone with a basic understanding of mechanics. With only basic foods in the cooler in my car, gummy bears, sunflower seeds, a couple of bottles of water, and some iced tea, we decided we'd better set out to try to find something more filling. As we wandered aimlessly about town in search of a grocery or a convenience store, we finally saw a person. He appeared to be a homeless man, walking slowly towards us from the highway just outside of town and pushing an old shopping cart full of his belongings. He stopped just short of the town limits and yelled out to us, "Hello! Would you kind folks be able to help me with something?" I'm always eager to help someone in need, So I began to walk towards him. Sure, I replied. Just happy to finally see another human being. What can I do? He pulled out a bottle out of his cart and held it out to me. Can't seem to get the darn thing open, he said. Molly grabbed my hand as I was about to pass the town limit sign and held me back. I shot her a confused look as she spoke to the man. Why don't you bring it over to our car? She said, gesturing to an SUV parked in a nearby driveway. We have some food over here if you'd like some too. No, that's quite alright, the man laughed. I wouldn't want to be a bother. It'd be no bother at all, Molly responded. It'd be our pleasure. At that moment, I could have sworn I saw a look of pure hatred flash across the man's face. I glanced at Molly and I could tell she had noticed it too. We began to walk towards the car, encouraging the man to join us, but he remained by the sign, leering at us. After a few seconds, he shot us one final angry look and began walking away. When he was eventually out of sight, I asked Molly why she had stopped me from helping the man. She gestured out towards the empty road. There's nothing out there for miles, she said. Where did he come from? As I let that question float around our minds in silence, we realized he wouldn't pass the sign that said, Arco, population 995. Why wouldn't he come past that sign? I wondered out loud. This is getting stranger by the minute. Let's go back to the motel, Molly said. I could tell she was getting worried, so we went back to our room. In the lobby, I noticed a vending machine with chips, popcorn, and crackers. Seeing as how no one was around to stop me, I grabbed a curtain rod and smashed the glass, helping myself to the less disgusting items. When I walked into our room, I noticed she was on her phone. She said she'd been trying to call someone since her phone said she had full service. The internet was still working too, after all. However, every time she tried to call or text someone, it wouldn't go through. Try calling me, I said. She dialed my number and within seconds, my phone was buzzing in my hand. Once we determined that everything was fine with our phones and we could do everything but contact someone outside the town limits, we gave up and we dug into our meager food supply. Clearly, there's something surrounding this town, but if this energy is protecting us, where are all the people? Why wouldn't the person cross into town? And are we better off in the town limits or out? Honestly, I'm not even sure that this will post. Even if it does, I'm not sure that anyone outside of Arco will be able to see it. But I'm out of ideas. Here's hoping. Alright guys, so I'm nowhere near Idaho, but to be completely honest, I'm not sure that I'd even attempt going into that town even if I lived nearby. This couple obviously needs some help, but apparently there are many strange stories that surround this town. Would I risk getting trapped into whatever dimension this couple looks to be stuck in? Probably not. But how about you? Do any of you live in Idaho? Thanks for watching. Stay safe.